drove by our dumpster here on the property and found this old box spring, well, no springs, but this old box mattress, bottom mattress for a full-size bed just sitting there. I ripped the back off of it, and lo and behold, it's full of some pretty clear poplar. They were just throwing it away, so I saved it from going to the dump, and I got a pleasant surprise when I opened it up. So I don't know. You see a mattress, I see, I don't know, possibly two cutting boards. Maybe. We'll see. But I'm going to get this disassembled and see how much wood I've left with. And I'm left with this after dismantle. It's full of staples and whatnot. I've got it rested on my sled, not my cast iron tabletop. Some of it was a little too much work to save. There's way too many staples to pull in this. So these three boards are firewood. And we've got all these and some smaller pieces. I've got a bunch of these big chunks of hardwood. These will be great for making some star knobs for shop use. And look at this piece of poplar. I've never seen one that deep and green. It almost looks like some pressure treated pine. So that'll make an interesting knob. But what I'm going to do, instead of fussing with all these staples, because even if you get them pulled, you're still going to have the holes, I'm just going to chop them on my miter saw, throw away that little bit, put it in the burn pile, and I'll be left with a lot of wood for some cutting boards here soon. With all the staples cut out, I am left with this. Most of it's about 3/4 by 1.5 inches and 2 inch. They've used two different widths here. So got all that to work with, and then all this other random junk over here to work with. But I'm going to start separating this between shop use and cutting board, depending on knots and whatnot. Got everything sorted out here. This stuff is a little bit too twisted to use for a cutting board, so it'll be shop wood. All this stuff over here is just too small, so it's just going to be shop jigs and fixtures and whatnot. This is what I have cutting board size. It's about 14 inches, so I'm going to pick the worst one or two boards and remove them. Some of these boards have these staple holes on the top, and this one's got a knot. So what I'm going to do is find my thinnest, this way, my thinnest board here, which is just these, and I'm going to rip the rest of these down to this width, and then I'm going to cut off everything at this particular length. This is my shortest piece, so I'm going to cut everything off at this length. And then all my cutoffs are going to be just thrown over here to the scrap pile. Normally I would just glue up the whole assembly as is, and then just trim this flush when it's done. That way everything's all nice and even. I'm still going to trim it flush once it's done, but if I glue all this stuff up, then I can't really use all this as small pieces as needed. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them up first, and then get it all glued together and make sure there's no more bad spots in here. But, you know, turning someone's trash into a bread cutting board and some other various down the road items. So I'm pretty excited about that. Alright, so I've got these all cut to approximate length, and they're all the same nominal size. So what I'm going to do is just pouring some Tight Bond 2 and using a brush. I'm going to be real quick about this. Just spreading glue everywhere. There's obviously better ways to do this, but I don't care. These pipe clamps, you can put down a piece of wax paper or parchment paper to stop any glue drips from sticking to these pipes, as well as getting some black marks on the board. But I clean mine up regardless before I run it through my planer, so I don't care. And I actually don't have any wax paper or parchment paper around, so just making sure that I have glue everywhere, and I have a lot of glue everywhere. Probably using too much glue here, but it's not a 100% efficient method. If you're using wax paper, then you're wasting some wax paper. If you're using my method, you're wasting some glue. So, and regardless, it's just saving wood from going to the landfill anyway. Very liberal amount of glue. And normally I put some scrap pieces of wood in between the last pieces on both sides and the clamps, just to stop the bar clamps from, or these pipe clamps from marring the surface. But I really don't care here. There's another piece of scrap. Pull everything down. Start to see all this glue squeeze out. Some people like to smear that off right now with like a wet rag or something. I always leave it, and then come back with a pull behind paint scraper, and it pops it all right off. So I never wipe that up. 6 one way, half a dozen the other, so it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna try and elevate this one just a tad. See how that glue squeeze out? Alright, now it's just a matter of evenly applying pressure. And that's it. They can all get tighter, but what's the point? That's going to hold just fine. I'm done in the shop tonight, so I'm just going to let these sit over to the side. And throw some sawdust on this mess. Let all that absorb overnight, and then I'll just come back with a paint scraper. 10 seconds, that'll be new. Oh, my brush. Just gonna let that soak in some water. It'll be fine tomorrow. But there you go. Some little bit of usefulness out of some person's trash.